Alright, so today I'm up here in the stand, and I set this stand a couple weeks ago, and it's in a prime location here on the property. I got a little ridge out here in front of me. The elevation drops down below me, and there's natural drainage that comes through here. It's a corridor for these deer coming up in here, plus the oaks. They come in here for the acorns and everything else, and I expect if I get down here and start plundering around, I'll find a couple of scrapes. There's usually a couple of scrapes on this ridge and some rubs as well, so I know this is a good location. But today's video is about the setup, about my self-filming setup in my hang-on tree stands, which is the way I prefer to hunt. I love a hang-on tree stand. They're just more compact. They're less obtrusive in the woods. You know, you can walk right by one and not even know it's there a lot of the times. I really like hang-on stands, but they can be a pain putting them up and taking them down. But today's video is about the camera setup and how I mount my cameras in the tree with me when I'm hunting. So maybe I hope you'll get a little something out of it, and if you'll stay tuned to the end, I'm going to tell you what the next video is going to be about. And I believe that if you self-film your hunts, I think you'll be interested in the next video that's coming out. So stay tuned for that, and let's get started. And always when you level your camera arm, do it with the arm in place. Actually better if the camera's on it too, but this is the Thermocell holder, which you probably won't even put the Thermocell up there. I kind of like to have it down lower, closer to me, but it makes a good little hanger. And I usually have my external mic or recording device here. I usually have it hanging up here somewhere behind me. So that works out pretty good. So you can see I generally have these camera arms about shoulder height, maybe just a little above my shoulders. And I'll show you. Generally, when I'm in the tree, I have two of these. These are Eons. This is an Air Pro camera. They're great cameras. One touch and it's recording. I really like that. So this camera will be sitting up here. This camera will be sitting up here over my shoulder. And then I'll have another one over here on the other side, which the other one is down there on the tree, looking back up at me right now. So this is the setup. I've got my 4th hour camera arm set up. I've got a screw-in step around here on this side that I hang my bag on. I've got another one over here just so that when I'm getting onto the stand, I've got something to reach around and hold on to. Because a lot of the times I've got the stands almost at the top of the ladder, and so you run out of handles, and so I'll generally put a couple of screw-in steps someplace that makes it somewhere where it makes it easier for me to get on and off of the stand safely. It's all about safety. So as you can see, I'm tied off at all times. You want that as high as you can get it. But you want it so that once you sit down on your stand, you barely have any slack back here, because from what I understand, most people, when they fall off of the stand they're sitting, they fall asleep and they'll roll off of it. Well, you're not going anywhere if you've got this almost tight. All you got to do is get back on the stand. When you're standing, you got a little bit more slack, but generally if you're standing up, you're going to be a little bit more aware of what's going on. You're probably not going to fall. The largest number of accidents happen getting on and off of the stand, so that's why it's so important to be tied off when you get on, before you come off the ground, and to stay tied off from that point forward till you get back down on the ground. But for the camera setup, this works really, really good for me. Using these 2 wide view cameras up here over each shoulder. I have one looking basically over this shoulder in this direction. Angle it sort of down, because they are wide views, they pick up everything. And the other one, I do just the opposite. I'll have it looking over in the other direction. And so if I get in a situation where I can't be messing with the camera because I've got a deer that's on high alert that may have spotted me or anything like that, and I don't want to mess with this camera, I've got these looking over my shoulder. Or if anything was to go wrong and this one was to stop recording for any reason, which I haven't had much problem with that. I had a microphone go out on me in the middle of a hunt one time, but the camera's been really dependable. So that setup works really good. And you see I got a lid cam on under here. The only complaint I got about the lid cam is the sound, the audio on it. It picks up my breathing. It sounds like I'm about to die. Better than it picks up anything else. So I generally, like I say, I have this. I haven't had to resort back to it yet, but it's there if I need it. You get audio on the Eon cameras, the Air Pro, and I have what they call a Camo Cam, which is the same camera. I usually have it mounted on the bow or my gun, and that's another thing. I've yet to use the footage off of a camera that I use mounted to my bow, because as smooth as my bow is and as dead as it is in my hands, it's still, when that bow goes off, there's a little bit of a jump there and you can't really track the arrow. It's better than nothing, so I always have it on and have it recording, because it may be what saves me one day so that I actually get some footage. I've had one or two deer that I shot with a rifle. I didn't get the footage because I couldn't get the camera arm around and get in position. That's why I added the extra leg to my 4th hour camera arm here. It's well worth the money because I can get all the way back around me again. But I use one of these same handlebar mounts that I use when I make these camera arms, and I can mount that on my scope of my rifle and have a camera on top of it also. And you can use these Eon cameras, or you can use your GoPro or whatever you want to use. I like the Eons again because there's one button. You just push that button and it instantly turns on and starts recording. and you get about an hour and a half time out of them. So the next video I'm going to do is going to be about extending your battery time on your cameras when you're self-filming your hunts. So stay tuned, because I'll try to have it out in a few days, and I think you'll find it really interesting what I'm going to do. It works with most cameras. Some it's probably not going to work with, but we're going to experiment with several different cameras, and we're going to see just how long we can actually get one of them to record. It's not always determined by the size of the card. Some of these cameras record in different formats, and they compress the files more than others, and so it's not always the same for every camera. So we'll see how that turns out. But you want to, if you'll hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell beside it, you'll know when it comes out. So anyway, that's what this is all about. This is my setup. You can see that I don't spare any expense when it comes to ratchet straps, because I do not like cam buckles. So as you can see on all of my setups, on my climbing sticks, I always use ratchet straps instead of cam buckles. Now if I was just going someplace and I was only going to be there to hunt it 1 or 2 times and was going to go in and get out, you know, hang and hunt type style, yes, cam buckles would be fine. But the problem with cam buckles is that when you use them on tree steps, they're going to come loose. When you're going up and down, they're going to work loose, and I don't want anything feeling loose or rickety when I'm going up and down a tree. I want it tight, I want it solid, so I use ratchet straps. I have to buy a few new ones every year, replace some that are rusty or bad, and but that's fine. I feel a lot safer. It's a much more secure setup when you use the ratchet straps. And the stands, some of the stands that I use come with either a chain or a mounting strap, and that's really all that you need to use to mount that stand. Not old Danny. No, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to put not 1 but 2 more ratchet straps on it, 1 at the bottom and 1 at the top. I'm not going to fall out of a tree setup because I didn't have something there sufficient to hold it there. It'll be because something breaks, a cable or something of that nature, and I'm not going far. So this is how I set up my stand for bow hunting and for self-filming, and I hope you might find a little something here that might help you. So there you go.